right, Lauren, thank you very much. We are here at the Combine, our final day here at the Combine in Indianapolis. Frank Frangie with the – is it what Fournette call you, the buffer? Are you the buffer?
Yeah, it was buffer and something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah. I'm like, all right, change the business card.
Tony Boselli is the executive vice president. What has it been like? I mean, obviously this is your dream job, and you've talked about that. But now you've been in place for weeks, a month. Has it been what you thought? Busy as heck. I know that part. What's it been like?
Well, it's not a job.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you love what you're doing and you get to show up every day, it's a dream come true. And, yeah, long hours. But, right now there's so much change going on. And, Liam hired a whole new staff after we hired him. And then the 50 hours of GM interviews to find James Gladstone. Some of the changes we've made and in the strength in the weight room. And so those all, you want to go through that process, and interviewing and getting to the right candidate takes a lot of time. And so long hours, and getting ready for this. And our scouting and personnel department's done a great job. Ethan Waugh did a great job as we were going through the process of keeping us on track and the trains on the track. So that was great. But, you leave late some days. But I'll tell you what, Frank, I wake up in the morning bright and early and can't wait to get back to the building and get right back to work. So it's been a dream come true. I almost have to pinch myself. I mean, 30 years ago, I was at this combine getting ready to get drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And walking into that first press conference with Tom Coughlin introducing me to all you guys, to think that 30 years later I'm sitting here as the executive vice president of football operations for the team I love and care about to help kind of reset it and get us on the right track with Liam and James, it's a dream come true.
That's really cool, and I know it is. You and I talking offline that I know that. I've been real impressed with both Liam. I've had him on a couple times down, talked to him off air a little bit. Just met James yesterday. They feel like the right guy. Why are they the right guys?
Well, I mean, starting with Liam, and I was kind of behind the scenes in that process, talking to Shad, and then when Trent was here, talking to Trent through the process and making phone calls and kind of learning about people. But you really don't know about anybody until you sit in front of them, and that's why that in-person interviews, all the in-person interviews are so important. So when Shad made the decision to move on from Trent as the GM, he asked me and said, hey, why don't you be a part of the in-person interviews now? And that was great. Got to meet different candidates and talking to them. And I'll never forget, Liam walked in, and within 30 minutes, I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy for the job. He needs to be our next head coach. And the way I look at it is, the tape is his resume as a football coach. Yeah. I don't need to know whether Liam Coen can coach football or not. I mean, just turn on the tape. Look what he's done, whether it was at the Rams, the Kentucky Wildcats, or at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The dude knows how to coach offensive football. And so what I wanted to know, what kind of guy is he? And could I project him being the leader of the whole building? Because in our model, the head coach is the voice of the football organization. He's going to set the culture. He's going to coach those players. He's going to manage his coaching staff. And he's going to lead us to victory on the football field. So it's not just being a great offensive coordinator, but can he be a great leader? And it just jumped off the page that he was that type of guy, that he was not a big ego guy, that he was passionate, that he saw the game similar to how at least I felt like we needed to build to have success. Great communicator, and just loved ball. And all he wanted to do was coach football. And so pretty quickly you knew right away, I'm like, I'm going to get along with this guy, number one. Mm-hmm. Number one, he's a heck of a football coach, and he has leadership just pouring out of just oozing out of every pore of his body. And so that was clear to me, and I think clear to Shad, that Liam Coen, obviously clear to Shad, he made the decision, that Liam Coen was the right guy to lead us, and hopefully for a really, really long time. I like that he's only 39 years old. Mm-hmm. So that means when he's 60, he can retire after being our coach for 21 years.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Let's win a couple Super Bowls.
And you'll be long retired after that, right?
Well, you know what? I'll be a young 74 at that point, Frank.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, listen, I'm all about young when you're old. Trust me.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, so that was that process, and then you kind of get thrown into the deep end because he gets hired. Next thing I know, I'm the executive vice president, and the two of us are working side by side long hours.
Right.
And I knew that, it's one thing to talk about collaboration and talk about being a great communicator, but then you have to live it. And immediately I saw that Liam means what he says, because it was a collaboration. Now, he's picking his staff. But early he says, hey, why don't you sit on this interview, or hey, can you call this guy? And there was a real collaboration, right away, and we hit it off. And so that was a great first sign. Worked a lot of hours, and I got to see firsthand that he's a grinder. You talk about taking it serious. I mean, 20-hour days of interviewing, running down things, and at the same time trying to meet players and doing all that. And that went right into the GM search. And, we're on a shot clock because you have the combine coming up, and we set up a very, detailed process. And I got to give Mark Lamping a ton of credit because he jumped in the middle of it and really helped us get organized. And we had a lot of people involved in it. We wanted that. We wanted to have a collaboration amongst our leadership, both on the football side and the business side. And so we kicked off 10 virtual interviews, 3 hours each. And, leading that whole process with Mark Lamping and Liam. And Liam's trying to finish his staff off and do that at the same time. And we had 10 great candidates. And I think coming out of the virtual interviews, James had kind of jumped out to both Liam and I. And, and we felt like going into it, said we're going to have 5 guys for in-person interviews, and that's when Shad was going to come in. And my goal was I wanted 5 guys for those in-person interviews that we felt like could be our GM.
I got it.
And so you want to go into that process open-minded, even if, James did a great job. A lot of the candidates did a great job of that virtual. Mm-hmm. And then we did 5 in-person, 4 hours each. We've talked a lot about that. Shad was involved. And at the end of it, what I was looking for, 2 things. One, will the dude fit in with what our vision is for this team? Mm-hmm. Not just on the field, but in the building, the culture that we wanted to set, that is going to be an elite communicator, have humility, because that humility will lead to collaboration and strong relationships, because, 3 of us all reporting to Shad.
Right.
And so his expectation of us is to make all big football decisions and then include him when we need to. And so the type of person was very important to me. And then the second thing is, can he do the job? Can he evaluate? Does he have a process? Is he organized? Is he detailed? Is he forward-thinking? Can he adapt to all the changing landscape of the NFL? And that's where James, he was the dude that I knew he'd fit in and he would work well with us. But then that second part, that's where he really separated himself. We felt like, and at the end of it, all great candidates, all great interviews. But James was clearly the guy that Liam, myself, Shad, and Mark, and Tony Khan thought was the right guy to be the GM.
So, Tony, what's now? Obviously, it looks like most of Liam's staff is there, right? I assume James has to build a scouting staff. I don't know how that works, but is that what's next? I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff to do, but is that the next chronology, in the part of the chronology?
Actually, that's going to – right now what James is doing, jumping in, our scouts, Ethan, pro personnel, our college director, they've all been working full speed.
So that staff's in place, at least for now.
That staff right now. James will come in. He'll bring as much of his process as he can, and his thinking will be injected into it.
Yeah.
And right now we're just obviously at the combine. We're working through free agency. Mm-hmm. League year starts on the 12th. Free agency is getting ready to kick off here real soon. So we're going through free agency, evaluating the roster. We'll go through that and kind of get our game plan for free agency. But you have to line up your free agency game plan with the college draft. Yeah. They have to work in coordination with each other. So we're right in the middle of that. Then we'll get through free agency, all hands on deck for the college draft. And then I think after the college draft, this is a great opportunity for James to evaluate the people we have. We have good people in this organization, so give James a chance to understand who's who and kind of do an assessment, evaluation of the whole department. And then whatever changes he wants to make after that, that's on him. He's the leader. He's the GM. He'll make those decisions. And I have full confidence that he'll make the right decision.
Let me ask you a story that I was told, confirm or deny it. So, Eric, it's Ciano? That's
yes.
The strength. Okay. Fired by Buffalo. Here's the story that I was told by people in the Buffalo area. He's fired by Buffalo. Shocked. Sean McDermott was almost in tears the other day because they're very good family friends. What the Buffalo beat reporters say is got calls from Jets, Bears, Colts, Vikings, maybe. I think that was the combination. Didn't know what to do because he was surprised. Met you. He said after meeting Tony Boselli and the way Tony Boselli laid it out for me, and he used your name, he said, I'm going to Jacksonville. So that's freaking awesome, by the way. I mean, because I like when we win those, if that many people really wanted him.
Yeah.
But is that what happened? Is that's the story from the Buffalo beat area?
Yeah, after Liam got hired, we kind of did an overall assessment of where we were and some of the things we wanted to do. And we decided to make a change with our strength staff.
Okay.
We made that change, and we started a search process immediately. Ferg, who leads our athletic training, he was a part of it, helping lead that with myself. That whole department reports up to me. But as Liam and I have talked about everything, he has an influence on everything we do.
Sure.
We're never – our job in football operations is to serve Liam Coen and his staff and our players. It's to serve James Gladstone, the personnel department. And so this is going to be collaborative, everything we do. And so immediately we were doing the search, and all of a sudden on a Thursday morning, late in the afternoon, maybe mid-morning, late afternoon, into the night, my phone's blowing up with people I know in the league and say, hey, you need to talk to Eric Ciano.
Okay.
You need to talk to Eric Ciano. I talked to Liam. He's getting the same thing. All kinds of phone calls about Eric Ciano. And I'm like, hey, what happened? So I'm making phone calls, calling people, and getting a kind of lay of the land. Everyone's shocked.
Right.
Like everyone I'm talking to saying, this is one of the best strength coaches in the NFL. And so 10:30 at night, I'm driving home, talking to a good friend of mine who's a coach in the NFL. He's telling me about Eric Ciano. I call Liam. I say, hey, we can't let the paint dry. And so I text Eric Ciano about 10:45 on Thursday night, and he responded right away. I said, when can you talk?
Told him who you were. Okay.
He goes, I go, when can you talk? He says, I can talk right now. So at 11 p.m., I pick up the phone, call him, and we had about a 30, 45-minute conversation. I said, hey, can you get here tomorrow? And he had called back and said, hey, I got something with my family, his son. I said, listen, I'll make you a deal. If you commit to me that you will not go somewhere else or sign a lot of offers until you come here Monday morning,
right?
Then you should spend time with your family. Family first. Obviously, everyone knows how I feel about family. And he says, great, you have my word. I said, all right, I'm going to take you at your word. And I said, you have my word. Monday morning, you be there. We'll talk. So he came in Monday morning. We put him through an interview. Ferg, Bach, who's over our sports science, Liam, myself, we all met with them all day Monday. And I'm like, Ferg, do not let Eric Ciano get on a plane.
That's awesome.
Do not let him leave.
Freaking awesome.
And so Liam and I talked, got the contract, and made a contract offer, and he took it. And I said, you're not getting on that plane to that paper sign because I'm not letting you out of the building. Because we knew.
So that's the story. The story's true.
It is true. We felt like he was the right guy to bring the juice and the energy. We got his staff all settled. We got a couple new assistants for him. And we're really excited about that whole room. And that's a great example, Frank, of I think how people should expect us to work in the future together. We're going to collaborate on everything. Doesn't matter. We're not worried about who reports to who or whatever. We're going to make the best decisions for the Jacksonville Jaguars and decisions that allow us to win football games because all that matters is winning on Sunday. That's all we care about. And Liam and I have talked about it since the day he got hired. We say it with James now. We're going to keep the main thing, and that's winning on the grass.
That's great stuff. I got about 40 seconds left.
Okay.
How far away are the Jags? You and I have had this talk as broadcasters. Well, you're not that anymore.
Sure.
But now you're – not that your opinion didn't matter before, but now it matters. How close?
You know, it doesn't matter how far or close I say we are right now. Nothing matters till you get on the field in September.
Okay.
I think we have good players. I think we have a quarterback we believe in. We got two rush ends that are good football players. We have a number one receiver who's an absolute stud in BT. We got a lot of really good pieces. We got work to do, but as we talked about, Liam, James, and I talk about all the time, all we can do is win today. We're going to win right now. We're going to get through this. We got to have a great free agency. We got to come up with a really good, strong strategy. We have the draft. And we're going to set ourselves up when we kick it off in September where we can go compete, and we're going to go win some football games. And I got a lot of confidence in what we're building here. And but the proof is in the pudding.
You're going to crush it in that job. Congratulations, bro.
Thanks.
All right, Tony Boselli, the Executive Vice President of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.